Hello. I had some life updates, so I just thought, what better way to just keep everyone in the loop than to sit down, put some makeup on, and just catch up with what's been happening since having Scarlett, who's 9 months old now. It's so fun. I just haven't had as much free time, of course, and whenever I do have free time, it just seems like there are millions of other things that get pushed, that there are things that just take priority, and I just forget or don't have time. But it's a beautiful day, wanted to go out and do some stuff, wanted to put some makeup on, so I figured, now's as good a time as any. So what I wanted to specifically talk about today is an update that kind of like changed the trajectory of our life, I guess. So Devin and I both drive Hyundai Sonatas. Just really easy, simple, reliable car, nothing super fancy. Devin's car had some mechanical issues that because I was working from home and we didn't really need two cars and didn't know exactly like what the problem was, and just really weren't in a position to risk figuring out what the problem was. Car stuff can be so expensive. But finally, we had to bite the bullet and get his car towed to a mechanic. So I'm outside. I'm dealing with the tow truck driver and, getting in the keys and all that stuff. I come back to the house, and outside I see there is a police officer. So I'm like, "Hello, sir. This is my house. How can I help you? Do you or anyone at this address own a red Hyundai Sonata?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I do." And then he's like, "Is there any reason it would be at a park and ride?" And it was a town that was like 15-ish miles away from where Devin had the car. And I was like, "Well, sometimes, my husband does outreach, so let me just call him and make sure that everything's good before I say anything." So I try and get in touch with Devin, wasn't able to get a hold of him, had to call him at work, and he answered. So he was at work. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Where's the car?" And he said, "Well, it should be at the parking garage here." And I went, "Well, they found it a town over. Can you please go to the parking garage and see if it's there or what's going on?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll call you right back." 5 minutes later, he calls me, and all he sees on the ground is a screwdriver, a piece of glass, and my car. Our car is gone. So, okay. So it was found and the ignition was punched out. So it was stolen. Okay, well, I guess one positive part from this is the parking garage it was stolen out of. My dad is actually the parking manager of. So I tried calling my dad and just to, can you pull video or whatever? And he was able to. And so I called my dad, and he was able to find some video and pictures of the people stealing my car. They came, they drove by, they scoped it out, came back 2 minutes later. The car they were driving was actually a car that was stolen the day before from the same parking garage. And from start to finish, taking out the window and getting the car started was like 2 minutes, like something crazy, less than 2 minutes. And then they drove off with my car. So I guess I didn't know this, that there's like an online trend or popularity or whatever that certain years of Kias and Hyundais don't have something called an immobilizer. So you can literally just start the car with like a USB cable. You just have to like punch out the ignition, I guess, and you can steal it. We had no idea that was the case. So while these people had my car, which by the way was less than 2 hours from the time they stole it to the time the community service officer came to my house, was like a 2-hour time window. So, but while they had my car, they threw out my daughter's car seat, got involved in a hit and run, and stole some stuff out of the car, which is just crazy. But when we found it, or thankfully they found it, and it was recovered, there was the window missing, a ton of damage like all over the side, to the front. There were like, I have no idea actually what happened in this hit and run, but not so happy Friday. Here's my vehicle. It was stolen yesterday. They took it for a joyride. We're about to, they were involved in a hit and run. It's a lot of damage. About to take some pictures and send it to insurance. This is such a mess. Grab our stuff out of the car. Very disappointing.
Guess I should put that back in there, huh? I mean, they don't need to get a clear idea. There's clearly damage there.
Oh. Oh, wow. Mirror's gone.
Shit. The ignition being totally effed up.
So after like talking with the police and trying to like get things figured out, turns out that these people stole 6 cars in this weekend, which by the way was the day before Thanksgiving. It was Wednesday, and then Thanksgiving was Thursday, obviously. And so they stole like one before, the day before, stole mine on a Wednesday. I think there was either they stole it or an attempt to steal, and then ended up getting caught in Wyoming like a couple days later. I don't really know what's happening as far as like the police with that, like they were fully caught, whatever. I actually need to do a records request because I am curious. Just crazy. And also like the day that we get Devin's car fixed, like is the same day that like literally in the same moment. Just insanity. So they set us up in a rental car, which was really nice, actually. And we just kind of were playing the waiting game for a couple weeks. And unfortunately, my car ended up being just totaled, which was a huge bummer. But thankfully, we have good insurance, and their offer was really, really generous, which is more than I could, and it was way more than I could have asked for or hoped for. When I looked at the Cali Blue Book value of my car myself, just thinking that it could have been totaled, I was expecting like maybe $8,000 back. I paid $15,000 for my car, and we got back $12,000, and I had it for 5 years. So totally generous, and it was paid off, so we were able just to pocket all that money. So even though their offer was super generous, and I feel so grateful for that, of course it was devastating news. I mean, this was a car I bought myself, my own money, all on my own. The first car I ever purchased like by myself, and I paid the loan off so fast, and it was just like, it was something that was mine. I intentionally chose like a really reliable car. It had low mileage. It wasn't great in the snow, but it was good enough in the snow that we could at least like get around town really easy. Having one car worked because I was working full time and I was working from home. So when Devin was gone, there was not really much of anywhere to go. I mean, we worked the same hours pretty much, and that's why we weren't really in a rush to get Devin's car fixed, because things were working for us. And then since I wasn't going to be working, it just felt like an extra, like, just a freedom that was taken from me. You know, the last couple of years, I feel like we've sacrificed a lot of freedoms in order to benefit our future selves, and this has just felt like another thing that was stripped away from me, that I don't have the freedom just to like go anywhere and do anything. Because even though the offer was generous, I mean, we always planned to get another bigger car that's better in the snow, especially we want, you know, at least one more kid, and having just a sedan like isn't super conducive to children and a bigger family and strollers and stuff. So that was always part of the plan, but you know, on my terms. Like, let me choose. So $12,000 just didn't feel like enough. I mean, maybe a sizable down payment, but we've really been putting a lot of energy, effort into paying off debt. That's a big reason why we live with family. It's just to set ourselves up for future success. Money is always an uncomfortable thing to talk about. I think especially in this society, it's just a very taboo thing. Hush, hush, don't ask, don't tell. But I think I would rather be vulnerable. So just to be honest with everyone, we kind of got ourselves in a pickle when we got married. We were dual income, and we were making really good money. We were living really comfortably. And then we were getting married. So we actually got a credit card that had a 2-year, 0 interest. And I just wanted to get that so we could put like big purchases that we may not have the cash for, but of course we'll pay it right back off. Like, we're making good money, and we were about to be moving to Florida, and I was about to get a job. I just had finished my master's degree. I was going to look for an HR job. Like, it's going to be no problem. Like, we'll be able to afford everything. This will be fine. Unfortunately, I got a job at the job I just left that I was at for 4 years. And I actually got that job specifically to make friends and meet people in the area, and just as like while I'm still looking for HR jobs. And then COVID happened, and I got a work from home job, and then all of a sudden everything felt so unstable. And because my job was work from home, and there was a lot of talk about, like, I worked in education and higher education, like that wasn't going anywhere. This company wasn't going anywhere. So I just kind of stuck it out for the sake of stability. And also it was work from home, like it was easy. So I just kind of kept doing that. I felt really nervous about entering a new industry. I mean, also all these people got laid off. Like the whole world is in shambles. And what I was making at my job was enough to get us by, but it definitely wasn't enough to put anything extra anywhere. And I think this is a very common story that probably happened to a lot of people. And so, you know, we had this credit card that was like $11,000 from our wedding, and my mom did help pay for the wedding, but the money that she gave us towards it, we kind of needed to live because we just moved. And anyway, we got ourselves into this hole that was like we were finding ourselves really hard to get out of it. So I want to say, like, I'm not kidding. A week before all of this happened, I started writing out like this big financial plan of how are we going to get out of debt, move out, like how can we get out of this hole and like start moving forward with ourselves. And when I did that financial plan, we would have been putting all of our extra money towards these credit cards and other bills. We would have been out of debt July of 2025, but we would have had to live very, very lean. Very lean. And also, continue to live with my family. And it was just going to be like at least there's an end in sight, but it was going to be a long journey. And especially like the interest rate was so crazy because it was like a low interest. And I thought I'd be able to pay it off. Like I didn't really care what the interest rate was. I think it's like 20-something%, which is just asinine. But we're going to pay it off. So I wish I could 23-year-old me no, don't do it. So just interest. So I think we were paying $280 a month. Just interest was $260. So literally we're only paying $20 towards this credit card each month. And I actually, when I checked my credit card statement, if we only paid the minimum payment, it would have taken us 79 years to pay off. And it would have been $80-something thousand, which is just insane. So made this plan. We're gonna do it. Literally the next week, my car gets stolen. And like I said, they offered us $12,200 minus the deductible, which was $1,000. So we got back $11,200. Our credit card was $11,100, which feels a little suspicious to me. I'm making all these plans to get out of debt, and then all of a sudden, I'm handed the exact amount of our credit card that we were going to take years to pay off. So what's really just feels, while it was a really hard situation, and we decided not going to get a car, just that money, it wouldn't have been enough. We have all this debt. Let's just do what we're planning on doing. I'll sacrifice. I just won't have a car. We'll just deal with one. And then at the end of this year, we're actually going to be 100% out of debt. So we were able to knock off that big one. We were able to get a decent amount back from taxes. And our taxes pay off my credit card that I've had since I was 21 or something, that just little things like moving, car repairs, and just can't put anything extra towards it. And anything extra, we were trying to focus on that big one because that was such a big payment. And anyway, from my medical bills and my unexpected hospital stay, that's going to be paid off December of this year. And then we pulled out a personal loan for the birth center, and that was supposed to be paid off in November of 2025. But because we paid off this credit card and that money is already in the budget, we're just going to pay that payment towards that personal loan and just just completely wipe everything. So by December 2024, we will be 100% out of debt, other than my student loans. But does anyone count those? I mean, the banks probably do, but one step at a time. But we'll be 100% out of debt. Our money will be ours. We'll be able to make moves and create a life for ourselves. And I just have felt so bogged down for years and years of just one decision had just made such an impact on our life and on our finances. And finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're not just aimlessly wandering, having to live super lean, having to make these huge sacrifices in order to get ahead. That even though it was just such an unfortunate situation and such a violation, I felt so violated. Devin still has to park in that parking garage, and we still drive a Sonata. We were able to get a steering wheel lock and stuff, and it seemed like these thieves were, hopefully just a one and done situation. But yeah, it just was violating and hurtful, and like it really actually like bothered me quite a bit that my car was involved in a hit and run, even though it wasn't me. Like, just like someone else had to deal with that. I just feel so bad for all the people. Like, we were all dealing with this. Everyone who got their car stolen was dealing with this over Thanksgiving weekend, and yeah, it was a lot, but ultimately has ended up being okay. It's February now, so it's been a couple months, and Devin had asked me, like, you know, now that everything's said and done and the dust has settled, like, if someone came to you and offered, you know, like, I'll trade you your car for this, and like, now knowing everything that I know and like seeing how everything unfolded, like, I think I'm okay with the outcome. And just like, obviously, it feels like a little suspicious that the week after I was planning on getting out of debt, I was handed like the exact amount of big debt that we have. And then even like not having a car has, like, there was 2 times that I'm like, oh, that would have been nice. But I mean, I'm not really doing anything anyway. And whenever I do dump the car, I just take Devin to work and pick him up. And it's been really special time for him and I to spend together, especially since we were used to spending so much time together throughout the years and aren't used to spending this much time apart. It's really special time for him to spend with Scarlett as well, because he just sits in back with her and then I drive. Sometimes we'll go get like a coffee and have breakfast together. It's been okay in the end, but definitely like a very jarring situation. And yeah, it's very much a whirlwind. Like, those weeks I feel like my head was just not on straight. Like, just crazy. We just wanted to give that update and just kind of give you some insight of what's been going on and what we've been dealing with. And here's to better days and freedom and just quality time with my family. Just making it work, you know, like trying to stay positive in a situation that really would have been easy to be negative about. And I was negative about. Like, it took quite a few weeks of just mulling things over to get to this point. But yeah, crazy situation. Hopefully next year I'll be able to get a car and get something bigger, get something nicer. Yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening, and cheers. We're here to clean out my car. Sad.
I don't know what they mean, but...
Aww. 2 hours. And now it's totaled. Probably the last time I'll sit in this car. Well, not probably. I guess this is the last time I'll sit in this car. Just feels really sad and definitely like violating. I mean, this is not ours. This is the thief's. So just sad. Just a sad, unfortunate situation. Did just want to show our rental car because they hooked us up. Scarlett's car Cheerios. We're just cleaning it out from stuff in my car. It's a Chevy. I think it's a 2023. It was nice. So I'm sitting here at the computer and we're about to do something pretty big. About 5 years ago, Devin and I decided to get a credit card to be able to put things up front for our wedding. It was I think like a year and a half, no interest, whatever. Anyway, life happened and we have just been paying on it for the last 5 years. And we're about to pay it off. This is one of the biggest like credit things that we have. So this is huge. It's going to free up so much money in our monthly budget, and it just feels so good to like wrap this up. So yeah, we're going to do it. We did it, babe. All it took was getting
Our car stolen.
Getting our car stolen.